Okay, we're on the Alpharetta bathroom here. This job was done by somebody who came in and basically did all the floor tile in here. There was linoleum here at the beginning and did this shower. Okay, so again, this is another one of those jobs gone bad situations. This guy apparently flaked out on the last day. The floor tile isn't horrible. Apparently this guy didn't have a wet saw, so a lot of these cuts were made with snippers. On porcelain tile it's not easy to snip tile, but areas like this, as opposed to this, the toilet will cover that. I still make round circles around my toilet flange, but he could get away with doing something like that. Not getting away with this. All this excess area should have been filled in with tile, but you can't really do that with snippers. Obviously he found out, and you've got this huge area that's going to have to be filled in with grout, which we'll be seeing because it's on the edge of the toilet, so I would never do something like that. Otherwise the floor isn't awful. He used 1/8" spacers, it appears. He used these marble thresholds, which I don't particularly like. They're dated. To me, they just look like they're from the 80s. Plus they break, and as you can see, this one has already chipped on the edge here, I guess from the door hitting it or something, but that's chipped off. So that's why I always prefer the metal transition strips that I use in all my tile jobs. Anyway, we get back over to the vanity area, and he pieced in a lot of things because, again, he didn't have a wet saw, and I guess he was under the assumption the vanity would hide all of this stuff. But whether or not it hides it or not, look at this. All this thin set has just dried out in a big glob. But whether the vanity hides it or not, I don't particularly like doing cuts like that. I always assume that the vanity won't be there forever. Maybe somebody will come in with a pedestal sink and this stuff will be seen. So just by default I always cut around those pipes. And I guess the customer's happy with what's going on the floor here. I'm not crazy about it, but it'll pass. The cuts up against the tub aren't too bad. He didn't do a lot of the grouting, as you can tell, because he left. After he got into the shower thing, which is why I'm here, he realized that he was in too deep. In a couple of instances, first one right off the bat, he has tile coming out to the edge here without any type of end caps or bullnose or anything to finish it off. So that's kind of sloppy. In addition, his tile bumps out too far along this edge, thins out down there, and then it thins out along here, and it's more profound over here. This tile is bumped out a good ½ an inch, and this is probably 3/4 of an inch at the top, just bumped out. So how do you finish that? You just grout it off with a huge grout line and be done with it, I guess. So that's not necessarily the worst, but that's what sticks out to me first. Second thing is this curb, which is really, really bad for a lot of different reasons. First of all, it's only 2 2x4s up. Mine are usually at least 3. Bump it up higher. He did these cuts for some stupid reason. He did these huge cuts between the tile. A piece of tile here and a piece of tile here with a huge grout line in the middle. And I don't get that, because he could have used one piece of tile across here rather than using 2 cut pieces. And then of course the grout line is huge, it's 1 inch at least. And then in addition to that, it drops down over here, and it's higher over here, and it's flat. And water is going to pool up into this area, so it should have been angled at about 30 degrees. Floor tile. The cuts that can be made out of snippers will never end up right. These pieces were snipped off, and it's not a complete nice smooth circle around the drain, so that looks like crap. In addition, The tile is way up in the corner here, way down low over here. There's a drop down over here, so water will pool. There's a little bit of drop down over here, so water is going to pool there. It's not the worst I've seen, but it's definitely not the best either. So this is definitely a big concern for the customers to get rid of all this and make it nice looking and do the cuts right around the drain, which I will do. In addition to that, he tried to have no spacing between these tile. In fact, there's not even enough room to get my fingernail in here. But then over here, this one's offset with about 1/8 of an inch. This is about 1/8 of an inch with non-sanded grout. You can't really tell on camera, but a lot of these tile are offset from each other, which doesn't make any sense. This one's higher than that one. This one's higher than that one. These are higher than that one. It's just very uneven. Look at that. Huge grout line. This is about 1/2 an inch, if not 3/4 of an inch grout line here in this corner, and then it comes down to almost nothing. This corner is at least even. Well, there's a big grout line down here. Anyway, in regard to how bad it is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, it's probably about an 8. I've seen a lot worse lately. Huge gap between this soap dish, whatever these things are, and a big gap there with a lot of little cuts and stuff. So anyway, like I said, overall it's not horrifically bad, but it's bad enough that the customer should have never paid for a job like this. It's not acceptable. This is something that a lot of homeowners could do. Professionals shouldn't be coming out trying to do tile work when they can't do it. So my job here is to completely take all this down, get rid of the shower pan, get rid of the drain, replumb the drain, pour a new shower pan and start from scratch. Put all the tile that you see here back again, except do it right. And this is day 1. Shouldn't take but about 3 or 4 days. And I'm going to get started on this. Okay, I usually don't stop midway on a demo to show what's going on, but sometimes I do if there's issues. So I'm almost done with this demo, and there are some issues. When I took out these walls, you can see some of the red guard remnants are there, but the Durarock that was on here, most of it on these walls did not have any red guard. Some did, some didn't. Anyway, I don't like this at all. Durarock is 3 foot wide. From here to here is about 2.5 foot wide. Durarock is flexible, unlike sheetrock, green board nowadays, which is pretty rigid. But even still, using any other material, you would still need another stud here. So between here and here, there definitely should have been another stud, which was never put in. And it's kind of silly because this was completely open at the time. Same on this end. Looks like they scabbed in a stud right here. This one was always there. But again, 2.5 feet between this stud and that stud. Put something else in to make it more sturdy. Anyway, that's kind of incidental, but I thought I'd mention it. When you hire somebody and they're doing the tear out and then they're building back up again, look out for these things. At the end of the day, you want to question why there's not more stability between studs. It really doesn't take a lot to kind of figure this out. Most of it's common sense. One of the common sense things is to use the existing plumbing, which they didn't do. If you look over here, you can see there are a hot and a cold supply that are coming up from the bottom here. Is kind of funny because what they did is they took out this shower enclosure. When they first built this shower, they had one of those fiberglass shower enclosures, and the fixture obviously was right here. And what they did is capped those two off, the hot and the cold, left them there. Came over here where the tub is at, the back of the tub, and they actually tapped in
to the hot and the cold supply for the tub, which, you know, is lazy. And not only is it lazy, but it's wrong. You know, you want the same pressure on your tub as you do with your shower if they're both running at the same time, and you're not going to get that if you're trying to run the tub and the shower. You got half the pressure that you would normally get. So capping these off was not the way to go. It was really stupid. What they should have done, if the customer wanted it on this wall, is they should have ran it on that wall coming up and over to here. But here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes that they would have had to drill times 2. So they would have had to drill 10 holes and do a whole bunch more sweating of the pipe in order to get it to run over here. So they took the lazy way out, and you know, that's just stupid. Not only that, they didn't even bother to sweat in the pipe. Look here, like it goes at an angle, goes up against that sheetrock almost at the bottom, but it's 3 inches away from the sheetrock right here. So they wanted an angle and didn't even bother getting it straight. And they used a nail, a single nail, to hold in everything. See that? So that thing would have been rocking and making all kinds of noise eventually and everything. Why? Because it didn't anchor it properly. I mean, you're talking about a 50-cent piece of copper. Actually, it would have got. This is funny too. This is basically a stud to hold your fixture. Okay, so this stud goes down here where the fixture is at, not where the tree is at that goes up to, you know, the shower head. But they put the one nail on the tree pipe rather than bring the stud down to an appropriate level. So that's kind of funny too. In addition to the mistakes that I've already mentioned, when I took out the Durarock was embedded into the pan. So the funny thing is, they used Durarock, which I don't always agree with. They used Red Guard to a certain point, and then of course they had nice hardy porcelain tile on the walls. All that doesn't matter now because the Durarock was embedded 2 inches almost into the pan. Well, pans get wet. They get damp anyway, and that dampness is going to follow that Durarock at the bottom, and eventually the Durarock is going to degrade. Worst case scenario, it will soak up enough to go over and out in this direction and cause a lot of mold and mildew. And even worst case scenario, you could end up with a leak in your ceiling downstairs, theoretically. But anyway, to embed any board into your pan is like no, stupid, stupid, stupid. Stupid on top of stupid. So if you're having a bathroom renovation done and you notice during the construction portion that they're embedding any of their wallboard into the shower pan, stop them, because that's just, you know, that's like, you know, stupid. There's not even an adjective to describe how stupid it is. Beyond stupid. So I'm going to finish out taking this pan and see if I have any other surprises down there, but otherwise I'm going to finish the demo. Okay, it's been 4 days and we've got this whole thing rebuilt the way that it was after we did the tear out. Got the curb normal instead of the cuts in the middle. Got the lines, the grout lines matching up, which wasn't there before. We got a little bull nose on the outside going all the way up on the other side, and then all the way around the top, kind of cap it off. Tiles all straight, new shower pan was poured, new tile put down, it's all straight. And of course a drain cap, all the tile around there cut nice and circular. Shelves are back up, and this is done. Also, we used the same tile and the same bull nose on the top, making a little backsplash around the tub for them, and finished up the grouting. Floor is still a mess. I don't like it, but you know, it is what it is. But you know, my part's done, and they got their shower redone, and they're happy. So on to the next job.